Good night, dear listeners. Here is Andre Branco, and you are on the channel Souls Like. Today I bring you a story that will touch your heart. Get ready to get emotional. It all started on Thursday, when Karina called work and took off on Friday. It was no coincidence. The husband's commemoration dinner required absolute dedication. Dmitry Sabarov, a newly promoted deputy director in a large financial institution, wanted to celebrate the feat in style and at home. The boss will be there, understand? Vadim Olegovich himself. Everything has to be perfect, he repeated every night when he comes from work. Karina understood. 3 days ago, she ran over supermarkets and specialty stores in search of the best cheese, wines, and delicacies to impress. The menu was decided together, but the execution, as always, was on your own. The day before, she spent the night in course, marinando meats, preparing antipasti, cutting vegetables with surgical accuracy. Dmitry helped in what he could. He carried heavy bags, rearranged the room furniture to give more space, until he tried to chop onions, which she redo later, discreetly. But most of the work, as usual, fell on his shoulders. On Friday, the alarm clock played at 6 in the morning. When the clock scored 3 in the afternoon, the apartment shone, the refrigerator overflowed with ready-made dishes, and Karina finally can get ready. In the mirror, a 30-year-old woman, elegant in her navy dress that enhanced her slender silhouette, adjusted the last hair. Dmitry arrived earlier from work, took a general look and approved with a dry nod. It was good. In his mouth, that was a torn compliment. Just don't overdo the wine for Vadim Olegovich, he prefers brandy. At 5, the first guests began to arrive, Dmitry colleagues with their wives. Karina received them with a warm smile, accepted bouquets and gifts, guided them to the room, where the host was already serving drinks. At 6, the house was full, 15 people, laughs, glasses that looked like lively conversations. She barely had time to breathe, replenished trays, exchanged dirty dishes, filled cups, all while kept a light dialogue with the guests. He noted, however, that Dmitry was tense, consulting the clock every 5 minutes. The great boss, Vadim Olegovich Gerstein, was delayed. Almost at 8, the bell sounded. At the door, a tall, imposing, middle-aged man, accompanied by an equally sophisticated woman. "Good night, Vadim Olegovich. What a pleasure to have them here," said Karina, with a smile that hid the tiredness. "Thank you," he replied, handing him a premium brandy bottle. "You must be Karina. Dmitry talks a lot about you." He then introduced his wife, Elena Mikhailovna. Dmitry appeared instantly, radiant. "Vadim Olegovich, what an honor. Please be comfortable." The arrival of the boss injected new energy at the party. Dmitry's colleagues rushed to give in to giving the best places on the couch while he, helpful, offered drinks and snacks. The night warmed, gifts succeeded, dishes were devoured, and Karina, tireless, guaranteed that nothing was missing. It almost did not sit, attentive to every detail, determined to make everyone satisfied. After hours of celebration and several glasses of brandy, Dmitry was more relaxed than ever. He spoke loudly, laughed easily. Karina, however, realized that the entrance trays were empty and ran for the kitchen to prepare more. He was precisely pacing salmon canapés when Dmitry came in staggering, his eyes glazed. "What are you doing there?" he grunted, spying on the counter. "They already ended all out there." "I'm preparing more, Dmitry," she replied serena. "In a minute it's ready." "A minute?" He imitated sarcastic. "Vadim Olegovich is waiting, and the table is almost empty." Karina just nodded and accelerated the rhythm. Dmitry was gun seconds watching, murmured something incomprehensible and left. 2 minutes later, she entered the room with a tray full of new delicacies. The guests applauded. "Excellent job, my face," praised Vadim Olegovich while his wife asked for the sauce recipe. For a moment Karina felt the weight of the hours of effort is worthwhile. But there was no time to taste the victory. "Karina, brings more food. What do we still have?" Dmitry shouted across the room. "I already go with the main course," she replied, towards the kitchen. "Fast," he insisted. There, while distributing the side dishes on the plate, he heard her husband's voice again, now more altered. "Where's hot food?" Give me 5 minutes, please, she asked, concentrated. 5 minutes? He exploded. Are you kidding? Everyone is waiting. I'm doing my best, Dmitri. It's 16 people, and I'm alone here. It should have organized better, he said, serving as more brandy. I prepared for 3 days, she recalled, containing the irritation. If you helped me now, instead of pressing me. He ignored the comment with a sudden gesture, spilling some of the drink. It brings what you have and hurry up. Minutes later, Karina came in with the centerpiece, a roasted veal fillet that exuded an irresistible aroma. Gratin potatoes, grilled vegetables, and special sauces were followed. The guests vibrated. Magnificent. Dmitri, you have a jewel at home, said Vadim Olegovich after the first fork. The host proudly smiled. Yes, my Karina is a master in the kitchen, especially when she is dedicated. She, exhausted, sketched a forced smile and began to collect the empty dishes. The night was not over yet. Dessert and coffee was missing. When he returned from the kitchen, however, he found that the main course was almost over. Stanislav, one of Dmitri's colleagues, got up to toast the hostess, and everyone accompanied him enthusiastically. Karina blushed, uncomfortable with such attention. And what do we have for dessert? Asked Vadim Olegovich, wiping his lips with napkin. Homemade tiramisu and fresh fruits, she replied. I already bring it. Perfect. And coffee for me, please, asked the boss. His wife and other guests echoed the request. Karina was just taking the tiramisu out of the fridge when Dmitri erupted in the kitchen again, her injected eyes. Where's the entrances? He demanded, opening the refrigerator door tightly. It's over, Dmitri. Now it's the dessert's turn, the guests are already satisfied. Vadim Olegovich asked for. His voice was lost in the hall as she once again rushed to answer. After all, perfection was priceless, or at least that was what everyone expected. A serene stillness, as if those words closed a cycle that had long needed to be closed. There was no hatred, no triumph, just the certainty that some doors close so that others, much more bright, can open. She looked through the coffee window, where the afternoon light danced between the leaves of the trees. 3 years had transformed not only their career, but their essence. The woman who once bowed under the weight of the expectations of others now traced her own ways with confidence that she even imagined her own. The work at Gerenes Company was not just a position, it was a reinvention. Each event it organized, every detail it perfected, was a reminder that it deserved more than crumbs of recognition. You have a rare gift, nay, you had once told you the director's wife, Elations, during a corporate dinner. The ability to transform chaos into harmony. At the time, she had smiled, grateful, but not fully understanding the weight of those words. Today, however, while reviewing the slides of the presentation, he understood. The harmony he created at events was the reflection of the one who finally found. Rare within you. The cell phone vibrated on the table. A message from, don't forget dinner today. I booked our favorite table. She smiled. With him, even the silences were comfortable, and the discussions, constructive. No shouts, no hands that squeezed with violence. Just respect, that word that, for Dmitri, sounded like a foreign language. He is a lucky man, commented, as if he read his thoughts, while closing the folder with the documents. And you are a woman who knew how to turn grey into gold. She lowered her eyes, not for shyness, but to contain the emotion that the phrase caused her. It was not about luck. It was about choice. About the courage to say enough when the world insisted on saying hold. About understanding that self-love is not selfishness, but survival. Thank you, he said, lifting his eyes. For all. The director nodded, as if he knew that those 2 words carried much more than professional gratitude. They were a thank you for the opportunity, yes, but also for the example that of a man who, that fateful night, had chosen to be on the right side of the story. When the coffee door was closed behind, allowed a long sigh, almost a relief. He looked at the glowing ring on his finger, not an extravagant diamond, but a delicate piece, chosen carefully by. A symbol not in possession, but of partnership. Outside, the city followed its pace. A few blocks from there, in a grey building, Dmitri probably still told the years she had lost. But there, in that cozy coffee, between the scent of coffee and the fine shine of the notebook screen, Andrelement knew, some stories do not need happy endings. They need new beginnings. And hers, finally, was exactly as it always deserved to be, yours. A silent gratitude has taken over her, not for her luck, but for the courage to have set free in time. Of having chosen herself before time chose for her. Do you know what I realized that night? Vadim Olegovich's voice broke the silence, low, but firm. Nothing, absolutely nothing, is worth more than the way we treat those we love. Titles, achievements, bank accounts. Everything loses meaning if, when you return home, you are not seen. Or if you don't see who is by your side. Karina nodded, her fingers playing with the cold cup. That's exactly why, that fateful night, she had pronounced those 3 words. And never regretted. That's why, the director continued, with a smile that looked more like a confession. And that's why, when you crossed our way, we knew, it wasn't a hiring. It was a gain. The best deal this company has ever done. They laughed, a light, accomplice laugh, like who divides a secret that the world has not yet discovered. Vadim said goodbye to the coffee door, leaving the smell of coffee and the certainty that some choices, however difficult, are worth every spilled tear. Back at the table, Karina looked out the window. The city breathed spring, hasty people, distant laughs, the sun insisting on breaking the clouds. Life followed, and she, for the first time in a long time, not only watched her. Lived. Gratitude for each morning that he woke up free, for every glances that found her without judgment, for every opportunity that now opened like a door she had unlocked herself. At night, the always wise old Anna received them on the porch of the restaurant with a smile that said more than words. The air was sweet, loaded with the promise of something bigger. It's amazing how a single decision can rewrite everything, Alexei murmured, her fingers intertwined with hers, as if she feared she could disappear. 1 step backwards, 2 ahead, and suddenly you are in a place you didn't even dream of existing. And 3 words, Karina added, her lips bending into a smile that illuminated more than the lights. From the city. Alexei was serious. Too serious. Her fingers squeezed hers with an urgency that was not fear, but sure. Then slowly he knelt. From her pocket, she took a small velvet box, not out of obligation, not by tradition, but because some things are so right that they need to be sealed. Marry with me, he said, and it wasn't a question. It was an invitation. A pact. A promise that this time she would not be alone on the stage of her life. Karina's eyes burned, but not of sadness. They were tears of whom, after so much, it is finally hit. Because there, kneeling before her, was a man who did not want to possess her, but walk beside her. I saw in it not a shadow, but a partner. Not a half, but a whole. Yes, he said, and in that only syllable all the news he had already said, all the doors he had closed, every time he had chosen to respect himself. It was the beginning she deserved. And for the first time, I was not in a hurry to turn the page.